next week. Now, I think they may improve for the 4th itself, but between Sunday and Wednesday, the moisture around the state will be going up. So coverage of storms up in the high country, and we will have daily chances here in the valley as well. Tomorrow and Saturday, though, in the valley, completely dry. And then beginning Sunday through Wednesday of next week, those rain chances will begin to rise. Doesn't mean every day is going to be a washout, but we could run the risk for some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Here's the 7-day precipitation outlook. Areas in purple, that's 1.5 inches plus of rain. So the White Mountains, far southeastern Arizona, those are the bullseye. Even eastern Arizona in the blue. Blue is over 1/2 inch of rain. Those are going to be the areas that are the wettest over the next week. But the lower deserts, we are looking at some good soaking rain over the next week. So that's good news. We do need the rain, and looks like much of the state could get some. In fact, even western Arizona, 50 to 60% chance that July 2nd to 6th will feature above average precipitation. So it won't just be limited to the lower deserts. Right now on radar, we are left with a couple spotty showers and thunderstorms across basically the Navajo Nation. The rest of the state now has cleared up. So this is where we're seeing the most active radar this evening. These showers will continue to wind down, and tomorrow we will have a lot more dry time than what coverage will be lower even for the high country. We're still at 104 degrees after reaching 112 today. Tomorrow morning we start off at 92. Highs will be around 110. It's going to be dry and muggy for our Friday. I have a 0 on the monsoon meter for the valley and western Arizona. That means dry weather, but low numbers even for the high country, meaning just about a 10 to 20% chance for storms up north. So coverage area wide will be lower. You will still notice the humidity. Here's our forecast. 82 in Flagstaff, 112 in Lake Havasu, and 98 degrees in Globe. Here's a look at our Flagstaff 7-day. We'll see a lot of dry time through Sunday, and then those moisture starts to amp up next week. As you can see the thunderstorm icons. The valley, our chances start to go up beginning Sunday, lasting through Wednesday. Caribe.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Still ahead, Arizona voters are questioning whether a candidate running for state house even lives in their home district. 12 News journalist Joe Dana travels to Yuma to find out. Season, deciding between candidates is hard enough, but voters in one Arizona community say that they have an entirely different concern. That's figuring out whether a candidate running for state senate actually lives in their home district.
Only on 12 News, journalist Joe Dana traveled to LD 25 to find out.
A road trip to southwestern Arizona. Destination, the truth. Where does Gary Garcia Snyder live?
Are we America first?
Snyder's own words only caused confusion. At this February rally posted on YouTube titled "Take Our Border Back Yuma," Snyder said he was a candidate for District 25, which includes Yuma. But Snyder also told the crowd this.
I live at the border, which is San Luis, Arizona.
The city of San Luis is where records show Snyder has listed his home address and used in a previous election cycle. A property in his wife's name more than a decade, a place where neighbors say he's lived for years. Snyder's official state candidacy forms state he lives not in San Luis, but at an address in Yuma.
I do have a concern about where he lives.
There are few as invested in the Yuma community as Phil Townsend, Citizen of the Year and former chair of the local Republican Party.
All of a sudden, he's running in the district that I live in and claims to have moved. I don't know whether that's true or not.
I drove to both homes Sunday afternoon, first San Luis. No one answered, but in the driveway was this car with a license plate of AZ Rep 25. Remember, Snyder is running to be a District 25 representative. And again, this house is not in the 25th legislative district. I then drove nearly 40 miles northeast to Yuma, where Snyder now claims to live based on his candidacy forms. Public records show that address is owned by a relative of Snyder.
Does he live here?
A woman identifying herself as Snyder's mother met me at the door. She told me Snyder was visiting Phoenix at the moment and therefore unavailable. When I told her I was just at the house in San Luis and saw a car with this license parked out front, the woman said Snyder's wife and 2 kids live at the house in San Luis. However, that's not what Snyder wrote on the state candidacy forms, stating his wife and 2 minor children live with him at the house in Yuma. Snyder won't respond to our repeated requests for comment.
They're legitimate questions. You need to answer and respond.
For Townsend, it's a feeling of not again.
It's happened here in this district twice before.
After Republican Don Shooter of Phoenix was expelled from the House in 2018,
I've done stupid things.
Shooter tried to come back in the next election using a Yuma apartment address. A judge ruled there was conflicting evidence, but enough to support Shooter staying on the ballot. He lost the election. In 2012, Republican candidate Darren Mitchell listed a friend's empty house within the district as his primary residence. Evidence submitted in court showed little furniture inside and a mattress on the floor, prompting the nickname.
Darren Mitchell, our mattress.
This Republican primary race includes incumbent Michael Carbone and challengers Nick Cupper and Steve Markegard. Property records do confirm they have home addresses inside District 25. 2 of the 4 candidates will move on to the general.
When you represent this district, you come home on the weekends to this district, you go to church, you go to the restaurants, you go to the grocery store. I want a representative close to the people. That's the idea of a citizen legislature.
A candidate could challenge Snyder's residency in court. Townsend said he expects that to happen, but it has not. Primary ballots go out next Wednesday.
All right, so Joe, the big question is, how does the law define residency?
2 points about that. 1, the law states a candidate must fill out a nomination paper giving the person's actual residence address. Well, courts have ruled there's some flexibility about how this is defined. Plaintiffs must prove there is a clear and convincing evidence a candidate does not actually reside where they claim. Second, if you go to the nomination paper Gary Snyder filled out, Snyder declared under penalty of perjury he lives in Legislative District 25, quote, for 1 year before the election. That means at least 1 year. Remember, Snyder is seen on that rally video as recently as February telling the crowd he lives in San Luis. That was well within a year of the election. However, the courts have also ruled a second home can be considered a residence. Back to you.
All right, Joe, thank you. Tonight, police believe that they've identified the body of a teen found in the backyard of a Glendale home. And officers think it's a 16-year-old boy who was reported missing out of Queen Creek. He was last seen last October. Police say that this is not being investigated as a homicide. Landscapers made the discovery at the home near 51st Avenue in Cactus. A distinctive tattoo helped identify the teen, but police are waiting for a final report from the medical examiner before releasing his name.
Tonight, Glendale is one step closer to bringing a new Hilton to the downtown area. Here's a rendering of what the hotel will look like. Glendale officials say it'll be the first of Hilton's Live Smart studios in Arizona. The hotel will be located near the downtown area and the Civic Center to fill the need for more hotel space during conferences and other events that will bring millions of visitors. It'll be part of Glendale's Sports and Entertainment District. The project is underway, but so far no word on when the hotel is expected to open. We are just 28 days away from the start of the Summer Games, and today Olympic organizers offered a preview of what the opening ceremony will look like.
Yeah, this ceremony will be unlike any other, featuring a boat parade. Part of the ceremony will take place at a temporary stadium built at the base of the Eiffel Tower. Then after that, the athletes will board boats and then parade down the Seine River. There were some concerns that heavy rain might make the river unusable, but for now, organizers say that the ceremony will go on as planned.
Still ahead, this week, drivers south of the valley found themselves caught in a dust storm. It can be a really scary situation if you're not prepared, not to mention dangerous. Experts have some important safety tips next.
Well, monsoon season is here and in full swing. Whenever there's a chance of thunderstorms, there's a chance of blowing dust here in the valley. And if you happen to be behind the wheel when a storm hits, things can get very dangerous.
12 News journalist Stella Sun checked in with the Department of Public Safety for a look at the rules of the road if you're caught in a dust storm.
It looks like a scene out of a horror movie, but this is what it's like in the middle of a dust storm. The thick plume can creep in suddenly, swallowing roads and entire communities. Dust storms are a result of thunderstorm outflow winds. A thunderstorm has an updraft, where warm, moist air from the surface rises up. The downdraft pushes the cooled air down. The outflow winds kick up dust as it pushes outward.
A similar concept to how outflow winds work is like dropping a water balloon. From way up high, as you drop the balloon and hits the ground, the water pushes up and out.
In 2011, a massive dust storm swept across the valley, traveling more than 150 miles. The National Weather Service reported it was 100 miles wide and 6,000 feet tall.
All of this is all flat desert, so the wind just pelts this area.
DPS Trooper Jay Perry patrols the roads in Pinal County, including I-8 and I-10. The Arizona Department of Transportation lists I-10 between Phoenix and Tucson, State Route 347 between Maricopa and Chandler as problem-prone areas for blowing dust.
The 1013, heavy dust in the area of I-10.
So they just put out a 1013. 1013 is our code for severe weather.
Trooper Perry taking us to the scene of a bad crash on I-10 near Eloy.
It is a collision with injuries.
Scenes like this can be prevented.
If you're in a dust storm and you can't see, pull over.
DPS and ADOT recommends drivers who get caught in a dust storm to pull over into the shoulder. Put your car in park, take your foot off the brake, and turn off all your lights.
The reason we tell you to turn all your lights off is we don't want anybody behind you thinking that that's the road and then crashing into you.
Dust storms can last anywhere from a few minutes to an hour. Waiting out the dust storm might prevent something worse from happening.
Your destination is not worth your life.
Still ahead, another look at Lindsay's weather impact forecast as monsoon moisture is headed our way ahead of the 4th. If you missed it tonight, the gloves were off in the first presidential debate of the 2024 campaign season hosted by CNN. President Biden and former President Trump trying to prove to voters that they deserve another term.
The candidates are neck and neck in the polls and hoping that tonight they swayed some undecided voters. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington.
United States, Joe Biden.
An historic rematch 4 years in the making. President Biden and former President Trump taking the stage for the first presidential debate of 2024, hosted by CNN, squaring off on a top issue for voters, the economy.
He didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos. literally chaos.
He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
The two oldest candidates to ever run for president, sparring over decades-old issues, including reproductive rights.
What I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states.
If I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
On concerns about immigration,
he opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like, and we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast.
When he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated.
Each taking their stance on domestic issues and setting out clear differences on foreign policy.
Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine.
The president directly accusing Trump of inciting the January 6th attack.
This guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail.
What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people.
Two presidential candidates with two very different visions for the future. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The high country saw even more monsoon storms today. Meteorologist Lindsay Riley is joining us now with our weather impact forecast.
And Linz, what do you think folks up north can expect tomorrow in terms of storms?
Overall, the coverage will be less, even for the high country, and it will be another dry day here in the valley. I'm going to start right off with our monsoon meter for Friday. Zeros mean dry weather. We'll see that out toward Lake Havasu, Bullhead City, the valley, and the lower deserts. And then a 1 and a 2 just mean about a 10 to 20% chance. So coverage will be less tomorrow as compared to what we had in the high country today, with 4s and 5s around the high country. Now Friday and Saturday are trending drier overall. This is the valley forecast. 0% Friday, Saturday, but then we are going to get a new stream of moisture. It's going to last about 4 days between Sunday and Wednesday of next week. We will have daily storm chances here in the valley. Here's that 7-day precipitation, and areas in purple, that's over 1.5 inches of rain out near the White Mountains over the next week, and then another bullseye as far as southeastern Arizona. But as you can see here, the lower deserts looking at a good soaking rain. Western Arizona will see the least, but we'll at least see something over the next week. Here's a look at the current radar and what's left of the showers and storms. It actually has been a pretty active day up across the Navajo Nation today, and we're still seeing some light scattered showers up north, nothing severe. All of the flash flood warnings have expired, and these will continue to wind down over the next couple of hours. We're at 104. We topped out at 112 out there today. Tomorrow, another start in the 90s. Warm and humid, lots of sunshine, and then highs will be around 110 in the valley tomorrow. We could see 112 out toward Lake Havasu, the Grand Canyon at 86, 104 in Safford, 86 in Show Low, with lower coverage of storms for the high country. Here's our 3-day forecast for the valley. 111 tomorrow, temperatures rising throughout the weekend, but a little bit higher chances for some monsoon moisture beginning on Sunday and continuing through the middle of next week. Here's a look at our Flagstaff 7-day. Daily highs are going to be in the 80s with morning lows in the 50s. Notice the thunderstorm icons next week. Could be more of an active week leading into the 4th of July. And then here in the valley, we're above 110 through Sunday, and with those rising monsoon chances, we'll fall below 110 toward the middle of next week. Caribe?
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Still ahead, police seize over 75 tons of fireworks in what's being called one of the largest illegal fireworks busts in history, the building where they found them.
Tonight, officials in California are shedding light on the largest bust of illegal fireworks in state history.
It is something that you really have to believe to see. Gardena police say that they found more than 75 tons of fireworks in a warehouse over the weekend. The fireworks have an estimated street value of up to $10 million. Police arrested 3 people on weapons and explosive charges. Police say that this seizure is more than double the previous largest bust. The NFL has been ordered to pay nearly $4 billion to fans after a judge found that its Sunday ticket subscription service violated antitrust laws.
The lawsuit covers subscribers between 2011 and 2022, when the Sunday ticket package was with DirecTV. A jury in L.A. awarded more than $4.7 billion in damages to subscribers and another $96 million to commercial clients. The lawsuit claimed the NFL broke the law by selling its Sunday games at an inflated price. The NFL says it does plan to appeal.
After a short hiatus, the U.S. will soon have giant pandas again. 2 giant pandas are on their way to the San Diego Zoo from China. This is the first time that China has granted new panda loans to the United States in 2 decades. The loan was finalized back in February. The San Diego Zoo returned its last 2 pandas to China in 2019 after its loan agreement ended. Still ahead tonight on 12 News at 10.
For the past year, a man previously known to the world as the Bachelor has been fighting a paternity suit in the Valley. And 12 News learned this is not the first time that this woman has made similar accusations.
Plus, the latest on the Boulder View fire threatening homes and forcing evacuations in far north Scottsdale. And here in Arizona, we bet on sporting events. Why not monsoon rainfall? How you can create a fantasy team centered around Arizona's rainiest season.
and has exploded to 1,000 acres.
Fire crews tell us that this fire is burning dangerously close to multiple homes. 12 News journalist Jonathan McCall has been on the scene all evening near Stagecoach Pass Road and Boulder View Drive. And Jonathan, what are you seeing right now?
Mark Caribe, good evening. Since we last saw you on 12 News at 9 o'clock, we actually had to change our position a little bit to give you a better view of how that fire is continuing to burn southeast into the Verity Vista community. That is exactly where officials say this fire is headed, and it has continued to spread after sparking this afternoon. Tonight we know that 50 structures and even power transmission lines are in the path of this fire that has now scorched through 1,000 acres here at Tonto National Forest. Let's show you some video of how this scene played out earlier this afternoon. Tonight, Arizona Fire and Forestry Management says the fire sparking this afternoon, 5 homes nearby where the fire initially sparked were evacuated. Tonight, there's no word on if any homes have been damaged or destroyed from these flames. All day long, though, crews have been fighting these flames not only in the air but on the ground as well, trying to get containment of that fire. As we mentioned, the fire, now scorching 1,000 acres, is now burning inside of the Wildcat Fire burn scar. That fire, which also burned here at the Tonto National Forest back in May, burned through some 14,000 acres. In fact, in just the last 90 days, more than 20,000 acres have burned here in fires at the Tonto National Forest that officials say were all caused by human activity. Back live now. Again, that fire continuing to burn here in far north Scottsdale. Fire crews definitely will have a busy night ahead of them. We'll continue to monitor this for you throughout the night at 12news.com and have the very latest for you tomorrow morning on Today in AZ, starting at 4:26. We're live tonight in far north Scottsdale. I'm Jonathan McCall, 12 News.
Jonathan, thanks. Now, we said there were 2 fires burning tonight. The other one is in North Phoenix near 19th Avenue and Cactus, where crews have been battling a brush fire for over an hour on North Mountain.
That's right. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is on scene right now for us. And Chase, what are you seeing where you are?
Well, Creepy Mark, I'll tell you, it appears that Phoenix firefighters have gained the upper hand on this brush fire. As we were driving in an hour ago, you could see those flames about a mile away, and take a look at what it is now. I also want to point out, look how much light Phoenix firefighters have on this mountain. You can see those flashlights over there as they're going through each area looking for any additional hot spots. Still a very active situation, but from our vantage point, it looks like those flames are out. But of course, we know that they can spark back up, especially with the dry brush in this area. But I want to go ahead and take you to video of when this fire first started. We actually spoke with a man who works across the street at the gas station here. He said he was working when he noticed large orange flames, looked outside, and said that the fire started small and then quickly spread and grew, going throughout the northwest side of the mountain here. He called 911 and said crews arrived within 20 minutes, and since then they've been battling this thing. We did see multiple spot fires throughout the mountain, and again, it looks like that they have cleared it out. But one big concern that we heard from that gentleman and other people who were just standing by and watching is that it was a real concern that this was so close to homes and buildings here in the valley.
First time experience, because we never seen something like that. Something like that fast going up, it was unexpected.
It's a little bit scary, a little bit concerning, but thank goodness for all of our firefighters out there and all the people that fight those wildfires.
And I do want to go back out live because it looks like our camera's picking up firefighters knocking out one of the few hot spots remaining right now. Again, you can see their flashlights. They're up pretty high on the mountain, and just what we can see from these fire trucks really lighting up this side of the mountain, there's a lot of dry brush. And like we heard from people out here who witnessed that fire spread and grow, is that it happened really quick, especially with that wind not helping out. But again, it appears firefighters are starting to get things under control. We know that they will be out here for a while as they maintain those hot spots and make sure nothing sparks back up. We are still waiting for official word on the Phoenix Fire Department. We'll be sure to bring you any updates as we learn more. But for now, we're live in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Yeah, very scary to see that so close to residential areas. We turn now to meteorologist Lindsay Riley.
Linz, what are the conditions like as far as the fire goes in the valley right now?
Well, across the valley, wind speeds are beginning to come down, but earlier when these fires sparked, we were seeing 25+ mile-per-hour wind gusts. Right now we're looking at about a 10-mile-per-hour breeze, but it is still very warm out there, still in the triple digits. We're not anticipating any rain during the overnight. The relative humidity is stuck around 20%, which is very low, and temperatures will remain in the 90s all throughout the night. 8 a.m. tomorrow we'll be at 94 degrees, and by 11 a.m. up to 100 already, and highs will be in about around 110 for the day tomorrow, and slightly breezy. Now, as far as monsoon moisture is concerned, we have a 0 on the meter for tomorrow, as well as western Arizona. That means we are going to stay completely dry. Even up in the high country, we're looking at lower coverage of storms for the next 2 days before the wet weather amps back up heading into the late weekend. Mark?
Linz, thanks. For the past year, a man previously known to the world as the Bachelor has been fighting a paternity suit here in the Valley. Last May, a woman accused Clayton Eckerd of getting her pregnant and then filed a suit and shared her story publicly.
Well, this month, a judge ruled in Eckerd's favor, and in an unprecedented ruling, she's also asked the county attorney's office to investigate the woman for possible criminal charges.
12 News journalist Bianca Bono sat down with Eckerd, and Bianca, you learned this is not the first time that this woman has made similar accusations.
Yeah, Mark Caribe, that's right. We've obtained court records, not only from Eckerd's case, but from another case out of Maricopa County. Eckerd was the star of season 26 of The Bachelor. He said these allegations had a tremendous impact on him, both personally and professionally, and finally, he feels a sense of relief.
Oh my gosh, okay. Yes, I love it.
It's been 2 years since Clayton Eckerd starred as The Bachelor. Following a breakup after the show ended, the Missouri native moved to the Valley.
It's a very active community, a melting pot of people from all over the country. I just loved the entire atmosphere.
But life over the past year for this former TV star has felt more like a movie.
Either I'm dealing with one of the most craziest individuals that I've ever met, or I'm dealing with someone who's telling the truth.
In May of last year, shortly after Eckerd obtained his real estate license, he received a message on LinkedIn from a prospective client, Laura Owens. Their conversations turned flirtatious, and she ended up coming over to his house.
Some things happened, but there was no sexual intercourse. The next day when I told her that was a mistake, and this can't be anything more than what that was, she began to cry, and I realized at that point something felt off.
11 days later, Owens told Eckerd she was pregnant.
I couldn't believe it just because, again, what occurred that night, I said, there's no way that this actually happened.
Eckerd wanted to see an ultrasound, and if pregnancy was confirmed, he wanted a paternity test.
She drafted up an actual dating contract that she typed up that basically said, date me for a week, and if you do and it doesn't work out, then I'll have an abortion. But if you don't date me, I'm having this child.
Owens would ultimately tell Eckerd she was actually pregnant with twins, sending him this email. Here is my 100 million% real ultrasound video. Eckerd said he and his legal team would later learn the ultrasound stemmed from a years-old YouTube video.
She was doing whatever she could to get me to come back and believe her.
But Eckerd didn't, so in August, Owens filed a paternity suit and went public with her accusations.
It was guilty till proven innocent. Everyone online was saying, yep, this is the guy that we saw on The Bachelor. Terrible person. You know, makes sense, this tracks. And then professionally, I lost a lot of speaking engagements.
But it was shortly after Owens went public that Eckerd came to know he wasn't alone, learning of other men who also received paternity claims from Owens.
I realized that I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for these previous men.
Eckerd eventually got a paternity test, and court records show the results showed little to no fetal DNA. During a November hearing, Owens testified she had just recently seen her doctor and confirmed she was 100% pregnant and 24 weeks along. But a second paternity test weeks later again showed little to no fetal DNA. Owens then claimed she miscarried, filing a motion to dismiss her suit. But Eckerd's legal team wanted to continue.
Her story is just made up at this point. It's just a lie after lie after lie.
Just last week, Judge Julie Mata issuing a stunning 19-page ruling, finding Owens knowingly presented a false claim, ordering she pay Eckerd's legal fees. Mata went on to say Owens has a pattern of similar, if not identical, behavior and is referring her actions to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for review.
We are actually at a place now where she may face criminal prosecution, which she should because she's been doing this for almost 10 years.
This week, Owens published a blog post in response to the ruling, saying the evidence she presented was deemed meaningless by the judge. And the only reason the judge allowed the case to continue after she was no longer pregnant was because of Eckerd's high-profile status.
If I could press a button and go back and erase all this, would I? And the answer is no. Because what I've learned through this entire process made me a person that I'm so extremely proud of.
As for Eckerd, he's moving forward with his career in real estate and plans to launch a men's mental health podcast. But although this legal battle is now in his rearview mirror, it's not completely out of sight. Owens' attorney says they're pursuing an appeal.
If someone is not going to back down, then I'm not going to back down either until justice is served, until this individual stops.
Wow, the story is incredible, Bianca, unbelievable. Now that possible criminal charges are on the table, what is the Maricopa County Attorney's Office saying?
Yeah, a spokesperson there tells me they have received the family court case, and at this time, the office is reviewing it to determine what steps might be taken next. No decision at this point has been made. Guys, back over to you.
Bianca, thanks. Tonight, Arizona DPS officials confirmed that the man accused of taking items out of the Arizona Senate chamber is the same man who was charged this week with allegedly stealing a key fob from the Maricopa County Elections Building.
Yeah, this video posted on the Arizona Senate Republicans' X page yesterday appears to show that a man takes multiple items from inside a stairwell area and then shoved them into his pockets. Today, DPS officially identified Walter Ringfield as the person in the video. Ringfield faces trespassing, theft, and burglary charges. DPS say that they believe that Ringfield stole challenge coins and desk accessories from the security staff member's desk. Ringfield is now being held without bond inside the Maricopa County Jail.
Standing still. That's what construction crews are doing at a $5.5 billion project in Queen Creek, all due to changes in the renewable energy sector.
12 News journalist Sean Rice traveled to Pinal County to learn more about what's causing the slowdown.
80 to 85% of our population, like you brought up, that's leaving our area to go to work.
It's what made brokering a deal with the Korean company LG a no-brainer for Pinal County officials. The construction of this battery manufacturing complex in Queen Creek began in 2022. The project aims to produce batteries for electric vehicles and for energy storage, like the usage of solar panels.
A lot of these solar power plants that are out there, that it goes into these storage batteries and then put back on the grid at a different time.
But that potential has been put on pause. In a statement to 12 News, LG says halting construction allows them to, quote, optimize their operations to work better with market conditions. The part of the facility on pause is the battery storage area, while the construction for making batteries for electric vehicles remains on schedule to be completed by the end of 2025. They did not specify what has changed in the global market for batteries and EV energy, but local officials believe it may have to do with how a change in the White House could impact the market for battery power in America.
If the market demands these type of things, they'll go forward. And so but I don't think the market's going to change that much. I think we're just in a volatile time right now, especially because of the presidential election. And that's going to be a big difference on how things go.
Despite these delays, all stakeholders involved, from LG to Pinal County to the town of Queen Creek, remain optimistic that market changes won't keep these cranes sitting in the desert heat for too long.
I mean, they spent all that money on all that property, and they've got a third phase that's going to be coming down the pipeline. And they're committed.
Sean Rice, 12 News.
Sean, thanks. Town officials tell 12 News that expansion on things like building new roads and highways will continue near the battery plant. They still are committed to advancing manufacturing in that area. New tonight, a Texas grand jury has indicted 2 former Uvaldi police officers. These are the first criminal charges filed after the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvaldi. The massacre left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. Former school district police chief Pete Arredondo and former school police officer Adrian Gonzalez are facing felony charges for abandoning and endangering a child. Earlier this year, the Justice Department released a damning report that found law enforcement officers botched their response to the tragedy. The Texas Department of Public Safety confirms that Arredondo turned himself into authorities earlier this evening.
Up next, storms in the high country are giving some relief from the fire dangers, the updated restrictions that you should know about ahead of the 4th of July celebration.
Plus, how the University of Arizona is getting Arizonans involved and keeping us educated during the monsoon.
And meteorologist Lindsay Riley is up next with her weather impact forecast, what you can expect heading into the Independence Day holiday while monsoon rains. Will they be a factor? She'll have the answer coming up next. But before we go to break, let's take a look at what Today in AZ is working on for tomorrow morning.
Here's Emily Pritchard and Allison Rodriguez with more.
Thanks so much, Mark and Caribe. We have a busy morning ahead for you on 12 News Today in AZ. We're tracking hot weather through the weekend and our next chance for storms.
Plus, electric bills aren't the only thing that goes up when our temperatures rise, how summer is affecting our budgets. We hope you'll join us and we'll help you get ready for your Friday and your weekend starting at 4:26 a.m. right here on 12 News Today in AZ. But for now, more 12 News at 10 is ahead.
With Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine continues now.
The storms we saw up north this past week are helping with our fire conditions. Today, Coconino National Forest officials said they're moving back to Stage 1 fire restrictions from Stage 2. The change goes into effect tomorrow morning at 8. Under Stage 1 restrictions, wood and charcoal fires still aren't allowed, but gas and propane fires are okay. Ahead of the 4th of July, just remember, it's illegal to use fireworks in any national forest.
All right, turning now to meteorologist Lindsay Riley. We've endured the hot and muggy temperatures this week. So what does the week of 4th of July look like?
Well, it's going to continue to be hot and muggy, but we're going to add some rain chances, at least in the days leading up to the 4th. I think it could be quieter by the 4th itself next Thursday, but from Sunday to Wednesday, our rain chances will be going up, not only for the high country, but the valley as well. Here's what's left on radar from tonight. It's actually been a pretty active day today up across the Navajo Nation. Good news is no additional severe weather up there. We did have a few flash flood warnings, but all of which you're just seeing light to moderate rain at this point. Now, the report came out today that for the start of the monsoon, there's some spots across Arizona that are over 300% above average. average. Check this out. Flagstaff, close to 3/4 of an inch above the average since the start of the monsoon. Prescott, much of Yavapai County, is also well above average, 68/100ths of an inch above average in Prescott. Now, further along the rim and the Show Low area, it is closer to normal. Likewise, here in the valley, we've only seen 1/100th of an inch since the start of the monsoon, but our records are kept at Sky Harbor. There are other parts of the valley that have seen more than this. Our average June rainfall is 2/100ths of an inch. Now, as you can see here, our rain chances will be going up starting Sunday, continuing through next Wednesday. As we take a look at precip, you can see much of the lower deserts looking at a nice soaking rain over the next 7 days. So that's some good news. Tomorrow, it's still going to be muggy. It's going to be sunny, and even the high country storm coverage will be lower. Here's a look at that Flagstaff 7-day. You can see the thunderstorm icons heading into next week as those chances rise again. And in the valley, we'll have about a 4-day stretch of daily storm chances from Sunday to Wednesday. Mark?
Okay, Linz, thanks. Ahead on 12 News at 10, why D-backs manager Torey Lovello called today's game their worst loss of the season. Cam will explain next in sports.
News at 10. I'm Cameron Cox. The Suns keeping the hometown hero home with their only pick in the second round. The Suns selecting Marquette big man Oso Iguodaro. The Chandler native played high school ball at their Desert Vista High School, leading the Thunder to the 6A title game in 2020. Suns moved up in the second round to get him after almost taking him in the first round. First thank you goes to mom and dad.
It was different for sure. My parents pushed me to get my academics down. I'm super grateful for that, and it just makes me a well-rounded person. Just a winner, someone that cares about everything that goes into winning.
The success that we'll have going forward is what you live for. It's what you embrace and what you want. So really excited about the team that we're building. upstairs, downstairs, and everywhere in between, and just looking forward to the season.
All right, Suns fans, I'm sorry. This is out of the question. LeBron James is not leaving LA because the Lakers just drafted his son.
The Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
Bronny James, the 19-year-old who wasn't even a starter in college at USC, selected by the Lakers in the second round. First father and son teammates in NBA history. Manager Torey Lovullo couldn't watch today. Starter Jordan Montgomery just can't get right. To add on to things, he got no help today. The defense just awful behind him. Monty pulled after 2 2/3, gives up 8 runs, only 4 of those earned. D-backs lose to the Twins 13-6. They've lost 4 of their last 5, being outscored 41-16 during that time. Lena Washington at Chase Field with more bad baseball.
It's been 90 days since Jordan Montgomery was introduced as the newest member of the Diamondbacks, but it has been a rocky ride since his arrival in the Valley. Monty now has an ERA over 6, which is a stunning turn for a player who was a World Series champion and one of the highly coveted free agents this offseason.
I mean, this has definitely been the hardest year of my career, but I work hard. I know what I'm capable of, and just got to keep working. I just expect a lot out of myself. I know I've let a lot of my teammates down, and I'm just trying to be better.
Monty expressed his frustration in the dugout throwing his pitch comm device, probably breaking it. His manager has faith he'll be able to turn this around.
He has not hit his stride yet, and I think him trying to get there is what will motivate him every single day. So it was probably one of our worst games of the year, and it was not anything that I expected to see. It wasn't just one thing, one person. This was a team loss, and we got to be better than that.
The D-backs have a chance to get right this weekend when they welcome the Oakland A's for a 3-game series beginning tomorrow. At Chase Field, Lena Washington, 12 Sports.
Yeah, not good, Caribe.
Yeah, no, not at all. How about this, though, Cam? Still ahead. I know you're a sports guy, but you might be into this.
I got you.
Yeah, here in Arizona, we bet on sports events, right? So why not the monsoon rainfall? Coming up, how you can create a fantasy team centered around Arizona's rainiest season.
Oh, come on.
The Valley for a while. You know that the amount of rain we get during the monsoon can vary year to year. But now Arizona residents can put their knowledge to the test with the University of Arizona's fantasy monsoon game.
This is an only in Arizona type thing. Well, players compete against each other by guessing how many inches of rain will fall each month in a major southwest city. So we're talking Tucson, Phoenix, Flagstaff, Albuquerque, and El Paso. You can submit guesses for each full month of the monsoon. July forecasts are due on the U of A website by this Sunday.
I'm taking Flagstaff.
I'm going to say
and
Phoenix.
the over.
And the over. I'm going to say Phoenix 2.2 inches.
All right, I'm taking 3.1.